Day 86, 2 Samuel 8 through 11. David's victories. 8. David's victories. 9. David and Mephibosheth. 10. David defeat the Ammonite. 11. David and Bathsheba. Point to ponder. Who fought the battle? David did. Who gave the victory? God did. David could not do God's part, but neither would God do David's part. It was a cooperative effort from start to finish, with God providing the power and protection, and David swinging the sword and smiting the enemy.
Chapter 8. After this it happened that David struck the Philistines and subdued them. And David took the bridle of the mother city out of the hand of the Philistines. He struck Moab, and measured them with the line, making them to lie down on the ground. And he measured 2 lines to put to death, and 1 full line to keep alive. The Moabites became servants to David and brought tribute. David struck also Hadadezer the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his dominion at the river. David took from him 1,700 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen, and David hamstrung all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots. When the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadadezer king of Zobah, David struck of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David and brought tribute. The Lord gave victory to David wherever he went. David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem. From Beta and from Borathai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took very much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had struck all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram, his son, to King David to greet him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and struck him, for Hadadezer had wars with Toi. Joram brought with him vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and vessels of brass. These also did King David dedicate to the Lord, with the silver and the gold that he dedicated of all the nations which he subdued, of Syria, and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. David made a name for him when he returned from smiting the Syrians in the valley of Salt, even 18,000 men. He put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom he put garrisons, and all the Edomites became servants to David. The Lord gave victory to David wherever he went. David reigned over all Israel, and David executed justice and righteousness to all his people. Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was the recorder, and Zadok the son of Ahitub and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were priests, and Sariah was scribe, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were chief ministers. Chapter 9. David said, Is there yet any who is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? There was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba, and they called him to David. And the king said to him, Are you Ziba? He said, I am your servant. The king said, Is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God to him? Ziba said to the king, Jonathan has yet a son, who is lame of his feet. The king said to him, Where is he? Ziba said to the king, Behold, he is in the house of Machir the son of Ammiel, in Lo-debar. Then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Machir the son of Ammiel, from Lo-debar. Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, and fell on his face and did homage. David said, Mephibosheth. He answered, Behold your servant. David said to him, Don't be afraid, for I will surely show you kindness for Jonathan your father's sake, and will restore to you all the land of Saul your father, and you shall eat bread at my table continually. He did homage again and said, "What is your servant that you should look on such a dead dog as I am?" Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, "All that pertained to Saul and to all his house have I given to your master's son. You shall till the land for him, you and your sons and your servants, and you shall bring in the fruits, that your master's son may have bread to eat. But Mephibosheth, your master's son, shall eat bread always at my table." Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, "According to all that my lord the king commands his servant, so shall your servant do." As for Mephibosheth, the king said, "He shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons." Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah. All that lived in the house of Ziba were servants to Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the king's table. He was lame in both his feet. Chapter 10. It happened after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his place. David said, "I will show kindness to Hanun the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness to me." So David sent by his servants to comfort him concerning his father. David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. But the princes of the children of Ammon said to Hanun their lord, "Do you think that David honors your father, and that he has sent comforters to you? Hasn't David sent his servants to you to search the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it?" So Hanun took David's servants, and shaved off the 1/2 of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. When they told it to David, he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. The king said, "Wait at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return." When the children of Ammon saw that they were become odious to David, the children of Ammon sent and hired the Syrians of Beth-Rehob, and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and the king of Maacah with 1,000 men, and the men of Tob, 12,000 men. When David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men. The children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entrance of the gate, and the Syrians of Zobah and of Rehob and the men of Tob and Maacah were by themselves in the field. Now when Joab saw that the battle was set against him before and behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel, and put them in array against the Syrians. The rest of the people he committed in the hand of Abishai his brother, and he put them in array against the children of Ammon. He said, "If the Syrians be too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for you, then I will come and help you. Be of good courage, and let us play the man for our people, and for the cities of our God, and the Lord do that which seems to him good." So Joab and the people who were with him drew near to the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before him. When the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai, and entered into the city. Then Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. When the Syrians saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they gathered themselves together. Hadarezer sent and brought out the Syrians who were beyond the river, and they came to Helam, with Shobach the captain of the host of Hadarezer at their head. It was told David, and he gathered all Israel together, and passed over the Jordan, and came to Helam. The Syrians set themselves in array against David, and fought with him. The Syrians fled before Israel, and David killed of the Syrians the men of 700 chariots, and 40,000 horsemen, and struck Shobach the captain of their host, so that he died there. When all the kings who were servants to Hadarezer saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians feared to help the children of Ammon any more. Chapter 11. It happened, at the return of the year, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Rabbah. But David stayed at Jerusalem. It happened at evening that David arose from off his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to look at. David sent and inquired after the woman. One said, "Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?" David sent messengers and took her, and she came into him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned to her house. The woman conceived, and she sent and told David and said, "I am with child." David sent to Joab, saying, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." Joab sent Uriah to David. When Uriah was come to him, David asked of him how Joab did, and how the people fared, and how the war prospered. David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of food from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and didn't go down to his house. When they had told David, saying, "Uriah didn't go down to his house," David said to Uriah, "Haven't you come from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house?" Uriah said to David, "The ark and Israel and Judah abide in Bus, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house, to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife? As you live and as your soul lives, I will not do this thing." David said to Uriah, "Stay here today also, and tomorrow I will let you depart." So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the next day. When David had called him, he ate and drank before him, and he made him drunk. And at evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but didn't go down to his house. It happened in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. He wrote in the letter, saying, "Set Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire from him that he may be struck and die." It happened when Joab kept watch on the city, that he assigned Uriah to the place where he knew that valiant men were. The men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people, even of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Then Joab sent and told David all things concerning the war, and he charged the messenger, saying, "When you have made an end of telling all the things concerning the war to the king, it shall be that, if the king's wrath arises and he tells you, 'Why did you go so near the city to fight? Didn't you know that they would shoot from the wall? Who struck Abimelech the son of Jerubbesheth? Didn't a woman cast an upper millstone on him from the wall so that he died at Thebes? Why did you go so near the wall?' Then you shall say, 'Your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also.'" So the messenger went and came, and showed David all that Joab had sent him for. The messenger said to David, "The men prevailed against us, and came out to us into the field, and we were on them even to the entrance of the gate. The shooters shot at your servants from off the wall, and some of the king's servants are dead, and your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also." Then David said to the messenger, "This is what you shall tell Joab. Don't let this thing displease you, for the sword devours one as well as another. Make your battle more strong against the city and overthrow it, and encourage him." When the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she made lamentation for her husband. When the mourning was past, David sent and took her home to his house, and she became his wife, and bore him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord.